Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning, and we are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. But because this is YouTube, you can tune in whenever you would like. And this is all things mindset. And we talk about mindset because it is part of the holy trinity of health, which is mind, body, soul. And we know we need to work out our body. We know we need to take care of our soul. But what are we doing for our mind? And what I found as a coach is that people get a little uncomfortable talking about the mind. If you say, oh, we're talking about mental health or sometimes even mindset, they get a little uncomfortable about. And the reason why is because there's this stigma within society that if you talk about the mind, that means that, I don't know, you don't have it all together. And the truth is, your mind is a muscle that needs to be exercised every single day. It's like preparing for your game, for that big event. You should always be practicing in advance of whatever that may be. I think about the Super Bowl. What do they do beforehand? They practice. They're out there doing, every single day. They're out there on the field and doing all their different routines and whatever they are. I don't know if they call them routines in football, but anyway, but you know what I mean. But they're out there practicing. Why? For the big day. And every single day is your big day. This is your chance to be the most powerful person that you know that you can be. And so we need to act like every single day is that practice for that big game. And when we aren't taking care of our mind can just go wherever it goes. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it always leads us to the best place. It leads us to what it knows. And if we're trying to advance ourselves, if we're trying to do better for ourselves, then sometimes that's not where our brain is going to go because it doesn't know. It's never been. So we have to train it. We have to talk to it. We have to tell it where it goes. So that's what we talk about here on Mindset in the Morning, are these little tips and tricks so that as you're navigating the day, you can start to become aware of them and you can apply them to your life and you can become a better player in this game of life. So that's what Mindset in the Morning is all about. If you have not yet, hit that like button or hit that subscribe button. Not only does it help the channel grow, but it helps the algorithm. And there is someone out there that needs to hear this message today. So you can help be part of the solution by just hitting that like button, hitting that like button, the subscribe button. That will help us reach other people. So, all right, let's rock and roll. Yesterday we were talking about some don'ts in effective communication. Let's not kid ourselves. There are a lot of don'ts. And when we become aware of how to have a good conversation or how to not have a good conversation, that's when we need to start applying these to our lives because we're communicating with people all day long. And whether that's over text message or in the office or with our families or with our friends, we are constantly communicating with people. So we want to have effective communication because it doesn't feel good when you have a conversation with somebody and you don't feel heard or it goes a different direction than when you thought it was. So yesterday we talked about some don'ts. We'll just run through some of those. Don't interrupt. Don't lose your cool. Try to keep it under wraps. Don't assume. Don't make it all about you. Oh my gosh. Let's just talk about this for a minute. So conversations, people will often, I see this in text messages with even some of, people that I know or conversations that I'm having. Hey, how was your day? Oh, my day was good. Oh, so was my day. My day was good. And then the other person, oh yeah, I went out and I went to work. I had a really long day. Oh yeah, I had a really long day too. Yeah, my day was hard too. My day was hard too. I'm like, is this a conversation? It's like you're just mirroring whatever that person has to say, or you're trying to one up them. You're one up. Oh yeah, my day was really hard and I had to yada, yada, yada. So when you are having a conversation with somebody, don't try to one up them. Don't make the conversation all about you. Allow that person to talk. Allow that person to get out what is on their chest. If you want to learn how to have effective communication, listen to the other person. It sounds kind of crazy, but don't make the conversation all about you. And I even used to do this. So I'm 6'1". If this is your first time tuning in, I'm 6'1". And people would say things like, wow, you're really intimidating. And I would make that about me because that comment sounded like it was about me. But if I was really listening to what was being said, is that that person has an insecurity about themselves that they're just telling me that because I'm tall, I make them feel insecure. No, you feel insecure because you think that you should be taller, or you have a belief that taller people means that, you feel small or something. I've been around plenty of shorter people. They do not have a complex about me. So that's on you. So we have to listen very carefully to what is being said. And that was when I really started to step into my power, was when I acknowledged that when people were saying, hey, you make me feel inferior, or I feel intimidated. That's what they said. They said, oh, wow, I feel intimidated by you. And I just took that and I made it all about me. Oh, they're intimidated by me because I'm too tall. That means that I am too tall. That means that I should try to make myself shorter and I shouldn't wear heels because I make them feel short or feel intimidated. Hold on. That's ridiculous. I'm made the way that I am made. I am perfect just how I am. Yes, I am tall, but who cares? That's the way I am. You have the insecurity, and you just admitted that you have insecurities by telling me that I'm too tall. So be very careful in making situations about yourself, because a lot of times we just jump to the conclusions, or we hear people, we see their text message, I had a long day. I had a long day too. Allow whomever you're talking to have their time to shine. All right, let's talk about some do's. All right, so first and foremost, allow that person to talk. Hear what they're saying. Hear what is not being said. When somebody is telling me that they feel insecure, they're saying that there's something inside of them that doesn't feel whole and complete. Because if you did, then I wouldn't be intimidating. So it's not a problem with me. It's something that's lacking in their life. You didn't see Mother Teresa or Jesus or Muhammad or any of these people who symbolize love. You don't see them walking around and saying, well, I'm intimidated by you. I'm intimidated by you. Oh, you're better than me. They're not out there comparing because they're secure in who they are. They have that self-love. And when we are lacking something, that's when we find things that are not existent within us. And we say, ooh, I should be taller. I should be smarter. I should be. So listen to what is being said and to what is not being said. Because a lot of times nobody's going to come up to me and say, I feel inferior because whatever, and all the reasons that they feel inferior. No, they're going to change that conversation around and say, you are intimidating. But what they're really saying is that there's something about themselves that isn't whole. It's not complete. And therefore, because I'm taller and you have this belief that tall people are intimidating, but if you were tall, would you feel that way? No. So there's something about you. So listen to what is being said, listen to what is not being said, and allow that person the time to respond. Allow them to talk through it. Don't then change the conversation and make it about you. Listen to them. And guess what? Respond to those things. Ask questions. Have a dialogue about what they are talking about. I think literally some people don't know how to do this. And I have some that I've been friends with in the past that I know this is a one-sided conversation because they haven't understood or figured out the art of a fluid conversation. It's so easy to talk about ourselves. Some people don't want to talk about themselves at all and they push it all off. But other people, it's really easy to talk about themselves. So, how was your day? Oh, my day was great. My day was great too. Why don't you just stay with, okay, why was your day great? Tell me more about your day. Or if someone says, man, it was a really hard day, I was doing XYZ, talk about those things. Why did it make you feel that way? Oh, do you need any help? Whatever, wherever that conversation goes, listen to what's being said and respond appropriately. It sounds a little basic, but there are so many people that want to just then talk about themselves. I've had to cut out some of these people because I'm like, this isn't a conversation. We're just literally having two separate conversations in text messages, or we get together and I've just listened to you. It's all about you. And it doesn't matter what I say, it's still you. You just piggyback off or you one up me. That's actually very narcissistic to do. Narcissists make everything about themselves and they want their ego stroked and they want to be bigger and to be better. So let's be careful. I'm not saying that you're a narcissist. I'm saying these are narcissistic qualities. So if we want to have better communication, more effective communication, hear what's being said, hear what's not being said, and respond to that. Don't make it about you. Don't get defensive because you've made it about you. Don't change the conversation to something you did or didn't do. Talk about this person. I think we all want to be heard. We all want to be understood. Even if you're a person that is an introvert and doesn't want to be in the spotlight, it feels good to be seen. Maybe not by everybody, but just by that one person or those few people, to have that level of acknowledgement that, wow, this was a great job. Give that person what they deserve, which is to be seen. We're all here. We should all be seen. So respond appropriately. Don't make it about you. All right. Allow for silence. Silence is okay. When I was going through my coaching program, so I'm certified by the International Coach Federation and the ICF. And as we were going through our coaching and our training and the certification, I remember there was this entire chapter on being silent, allowing for the pause, and being okay with that. You see what I just did there? That pause. There's actually a lot of power in a pause. And sometimes we just want to insert ourselves, like we don't like, it's weird to have silence. We have to keep the dialogue going. And so we just shove things in conversation. And I think before, early on, as I was in my coaching career or just in my communicating with other people in general, I wouldn't allow for these pauses. They felt maybe weird or uncomfortable, or I just never thought about them. I never thought to just let some space, because people, as they're thinking, sometimes they need their own pause to think and get their words. And if we insert ourselves while they're still thinking, then they lose that thought. So you have to feel the conversation. I can't tell you when that pause is going to happen. It's something that you only know through practice. But sometimes people will need that. Maybe there's some emotion they're going through, and they need that pause to get out that next piece. So when you are having a conversation with someone, it's okay to have some silence within your conversation. Don't feel you have to rush and shove something in there, because something good really may be coming up. And the thing that you may, and this is what I learned as doing tons of interviews. I interview for the magazine, I interview for, which I actually have a big interview this week. I'm really excited. I interview on my podcast. So I'm interviewing people a lot. And sometimes we want to think about, and this is the same with coaching. Okay, what's that next question I should be asking? What's that next question? What's the next question? And we start thinking and we get in our own head and we're making it about us at that point. We're saying, okay, what is the good thing that I should be asking next? Instead of just allowing things to flow. Conversations, how do they happen? One ends, another one begins. It should be very fluid. You don't go back to another point and start there. No, it's a conversation, and dialogue is fluid. But you have to get to the end of whatever that person is saying to then make it fluid and come to the next. So you've got to become a listener as you're having these conversations. And as you come to the end of that sentence, that's when you'll know the next thing to say. Now, sometimes you may already have an idea and it may make sense to say that thing. But if you are so in your head, listen to this. If you are anticipating what you are going to say next, and that is consuming your thoughts, then are you effectively listening? I've been interviewed before, and I thought, are you listening to me or are you reading a script? Next question. Next question. Next question. And I'm like, this doesn't even feel like a conversation. This feels like I'm being interrogated. And I don't like to have those types of interviews. So allow for the pause. Go to the end of the conversation, or whatever person is talking. Allow them to get all their words out and then say something when it's appropriate. Maybe there's a pause and they still have more. But don't make the situation, the conversation, all about what's your next best question. Ask it based off of how they finish their sentence. And I didn't quite understand why that was part of the training until I went through it. And it's an art that we have to learn. So, in order to be an effective communicator, in order to be an effective coach, you have to be an effective listener, which means not making it about yourself, not hearing the pause and inserting yourself, and thinking about what questions you want to say before the person's done talking. Being an effective communicator is about listening. It's about hearing what is being said and what is not being said. Not making situations about you, but truly making the conversation about the other person. Yes, you can talk about you, but when somebody opens up and starts talking about their day, don't then talk about your day. Ask them. Ask them. So, those are some do's and some don'ts of being an effective communicator. And you will find that it will change the way that you show up in conversations. And people will want to talk to you and tell you more because they feel heard, they feel more understood. When people don't, it's like me with these interviews. I'm like, I don't want to have a conversation where I feel interrogated. So if you want that trust from the people within your circle, Learn to be a better communicator. So that's our message for today. If you have not yet hit that like, hit that subscribe. The reason we want to do that is because somebody else needs to hear this message today and you can help them. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, but even more so than that, I want you to take this message and how you're going to apply it to your life. Start to become mindful when you're talking with your family, with your friends, with your office, when you're text messaging, and not making conversations about you, not jumping into the pause and putting words in there just to put words in there, and not thinking about what you want to talk about in advance, just letting things flow. You will find that people are more inclined to trust you because they feel heard. All right, that's it for me today. I will see you here tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a wonderful day and go be a powerful, effective communicator. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.